Darkness falls on me, and I'm too weak to be. A bright light shines on me.
Welcome back to Empowering Women, and today's special guest is Halé Sofia Schatz. She's the author of If the Buddha Came to Dinner, How to Nourish Your Body to Awaken Your Spirit.
What's the difference between nourishment and how is that different from nutrition?
That's a great question. What I call myself is a nourishment educator, so people are always a little bit confused about this nutrition nourishment piece. Obviously, they're very much linked in many ways, but I find one of the main differences is that nutrition is about what we eat, whereas nourishment is who are we feeding. And that takes a really different shift. So when I'm working with clients and we're going into deeper issues of how we're feeding ourselves or how we're not feeding ourselves, if we can look at who am I feeding as the essential question or the basis of all this work, then it shifts it, that it's not just this particular food and if I eat this I'll lose 5 pounds. It's about who am I feeding when I eat this particular food? And then the inner workings then help us motivate and create a support around this level of knowing about ourselves.
And when you say, who am I feeding, are you referring to, like, who am I as a person? Who is my family? And
yes, and if we're looking at this, I find for women who are feeding their families, if they don't look at that essential question of who am I feeding first, this body, this entity, this history,
right,
it's very difficult to feed our children and know what they need if we don't know who we are and who we're feeding.
Right.
Like something that I talk about quite in detail in the book about my plate is too full. This seems to be the statement of women's lives. Our plates are too full, whether it's the meetings, the children, the calendars, the to-do lists, the have-tos, the in-laws, the friends, the community involvements. It's just too full. And how do we then make sense out of creating a space where we are a part of that plate? We're all running in a circle.
Right.
Going from one thing to another with very little emphasis about who we are in that process.
Right.
It's very similar to the idea of the airlines. You know how the airlines have that thing when those oxygen masks come down. They say make sure that you put it on your mask first before you help others around you, children or elderly. It's the same idea. If we are not willing to let go of something on our to-do list, then what we let go of is ourselves. And this becomes a disastrous pattern.